My name's Friel. I play live music. I play acoustic guitar. I grew up here in Virginia Beach. Started playing at an early age, well, probably about 12 years old. But I discovered that I could go to parties or social situations and not have to necessarily talk to someone because I had this guitar to fall back on. My brother was a little bit older than me, and so I was kind of under his wings at that time. And at 17 years old, we were actually playing in clubs already. Of course, in those days, the legal drinking age was 18. So being 17 and the other members of the band were all, 3 or 4 years older than I was, I just kind of blended in with them. So no one noticed that I was underage. Nobody checked my ID. I looked like a real musician. It was after Woodstock, though, so it's not so bad, is it? On the boardwalk tonight. But over time, I wanted to break out and do some of my own things, original music, my own songs. And so at some point, we broke off, and I took a little bit of a break, and I was still playing music, but then I formed a band with some of my own friends, from high school or whatever. And I started doing some of my own original songs. I was in my early 20s by then. And I was legally playing in clubs by then. I think when we're young, we think, well, we'd all like to be famous in some way, and I guess that was the path, in my mind, to achieving some notoriety was to write songs. Of course, over time, the songwriting process became a joy in itself. The idea of being famous, of course, goes away at some point, and you get something else out of it. I was probably, 15, 16 years old. I was writing some songs, but, they weren't very good. I was bouncing around between different styles and emulating different types of artists. There was jazz, George Benson, Steve Stills for the acoustic, folk rock stuff, and then even some funky guitar stuff from the Crusaders. For me, I always wanted to capture good guitar work and meaningful lyrics. Steve Stills' and Manassas album, which was a double album, and there was so many good guitar licks on there, and I used to wear the groove out on that double album. She came into this world like from another planet, always bouncing on the wall. When I was young, a teenager learning to play, I jumped around. I had an electric guitar with a big amp, a Fender reverb amp, and I had an acoustic guitar. And I really didn't know which one I preferred at that time. In fact, in my first couple bands, I played both. I went back and forth from acoustic guitar to electric guitar. At some point, I decided that if I wanted to be, exceptional at something, I had to just focus on that, and that seemed to have worked out for me. I think I made the right decision. Considered and whispered, enhancing medication. That was the Turquoise Band. I actually went through a couple names, and I can't remember now which one I started with. It was either String Fever or Turquoise. We definitely broke into the local club scene with that band, and I was kind of like a co-leader in that band. But we actually took turns playing acoustic guitar and playing electric guitar and playing solos and singing and writing songs and all that. And then Turquoise, when I blew the band up a little bigger and had full drums and bass and I think we even had a female singer singing harmony. A lot of acoustic acts were only booked on weeknights. That's just the way it was back then. If I could have played on the weekend more, I think it would have been okay, and I would have continued with it. But so, I went into that period where I wasn't performing. I was still dabbling with some recordings at home and things like that. The funny thing is, it wasn't like I made a conscious decision to start performing again. It was more like my friends and I were having impromptu jam sessions, and eventually we were asked by some friends who owned a restaurant, to start playing in the restaurant. And it just kind of took off from there. My band, The Resonators, I started that band in 2003. It grew out of impromptu jam sessions with friends. I guess in my mind, informally formed a mission statement for the band, which was to showcase some of my own original songs, and also play cover songs that we really felt emotional about. I preferred playing original music, of course, but the cover songs are what brings you back into the club time after time. The great thing about music is it's a quick, it's an easy way to connect with somebody, and that's what I try to do with my original songs. Is I take something that's emotional to me, or maybe something that's been bothering me, and I put that into the song. It may not connect with everybody, but it'll connect with somebody. And that's really what I'm trying to do. There always seems to be someone who kind of can grab onto that emotion. Recently someone heard one of my original songs that I was playing in public and said, there's something haunting about that song. I'm not sure what it is, but I like it anyway, And I thought, well, that's perfect. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. You write a song and you're recording it, you get so close to it that you don't really have an objective opinion of the song, because you've been so close to it for so long, you developed it all along. It's hard to stand back and look at the whole song. When someone else looks at the song, it's kind of like a verification that all that hard work has paid off. So I was actually very relieved to have had that music recognized. I wanna wake up where you are. For the cover songs to be played in public, there are some common threads there. I tend to gravitate towards music that is guitar-based, and of course, something that'll accommodate the acoustic guitar, where the acoustic guitar is strong and somewhat energetic. I always like to have some note playing, some melody, guitar work within the song. At the same time, the lyrics are important to me. So it's got to be, for the cover songs, it needs to be something I can relate to in some way, or I can kind of own the song. The lyrics have to have some kind of emotion for me. Everyone in the audience is looking for something in particular that they want to hear about that cover song. And I think it might be different for everybody. Like I might be looking for a particular a signature solo that the guitarist plays, where someone else might be looking for a particular unusual beat, like a backbeat, and they think that's what makes the song. And someone else might be looking at the vocals. The vocal tone is what makes the song. Every vocalist has what I consider a sweet spot with the tone of their voice, or the pitch, or there's a certain pitch where their voice is going to sound the same. If they go too high or they go too low, that's not going to be the optimum place for them to sound good. When I'm doing covers, I change the key to fall closer to that sweet spot for my vocal tone. Sometimes I compromise because it's a song that I like, and I like to play the guitar part. So, I may compromise a little bit, and I may be a little bit out of my optimum range for vocal, but there's always something about the song I really like. recording music, it's such a time-consuming effort. You know, I'm always in my mind, if not writing a song, documenting a new song, I'm writing it in my mind somehow. You know, the phrases and things that I pick up as I go, day to day. Right now, I'm having difficulty, finding that time to do that. At some point in the future, when I break away from my day job one of these days, there'll be another group of songs, original songs released. No one can stop me from writing songs and recording songs, so I'll always be doing that. Because when I'm out playing music and people come up to me and they start talking about, well, maybe you could become famous. Musicians like myself, we really don't think about that. Maybe we thought about that when we were young learning to play guitar. We thought, oh, we're going to be like the Beatles or probably still Nash or something. We have that chance, but that's not really why we're in it. If I can affect, a small group of people, sometimes even one person, they come up and say, I really like the way you did that song, or, I like that song you wrote, I can relate to that. That kind of, I've thought about all those things before, and it's good to hear somebody to play that, put it to music. That's really what it's all about. Or sometimes it doesn't make them feel good, but it's something that they need, Maybe it might make them a little bit sad, but it's something that they need to work through emotionally, It's the gig by gig joy of it.
There's all this ground to cover before we go.
You're on a lonely road. It's a dark road. There's a signpost up ahead. Your next stop, the Twilight Zone. And they're big hands. They're the biggest hands ever. No one has ever had bigger hands. About keeping your vocal cords moist, and that's what really works for you. But if you drink too much alcohol, it's going to dry you out. That's straight vodka. It just looks like water. You might get like 3 seconds out of that song. That's okay.
Walking home, I felt the ground shake beneath my feet, and I swore I heard the pounding ocean waves. Looking up just before